something strange happens, it's good that Bart did that. It's very good.
Well, it's still on. 346 consecutive hours. And all because of one little boy who won't let me stop! Anyway, now let's go over and see if Sideshow Mel has any more of those legal, over-the-counter wake-up drugs of his.
Okay. Here we go. So, that's ridiculous. All right. Because of one little boy who won't let me stop. It's actually very disturbing. I had to watch that a couple times just to desensitize myself to it. Because you cannot make this story line up. I'm going to tell you just who the character is in The Simpsons. Alright? This is not my opinion. This is simply describing a character in a TV show. Krusty the Clown. His name is, what is it? Christoph or something like that. Krustovsky or something. They're Soviet Jews. His dad is a rabbi. His dad is the scholarship of what is called the modern state of Israel, and Krusty the Clown does all this for America. This is in the show The Simpsons, or the Shimshons, the Sun People. That's why most of them are yellow in the show. You can't make this up. So I played that clip because Bartholomew means son of the mark who belongs to El. That's why they have him as the Antichrist character, because his name is supposed to be basically Messiah and the people of Messiah. But they make him the troublemaker. And then Krusty the Clown, because this episode is referencing Twilight Zone or something like that, where that episode, what's creepy about that episode of the Twilight Zone where the little kid has powers, mind powers, and controls everybody through fear, it's supposed to be Pharaoh, but he's like this kind of darkest redheaded little boy, and the age that that little boy is in that episode when it aired, he was the same age as Trump at that time, very close. If you look at when Trump was born and when that episode was put out, he was roughly the age of that little boy in that episode. Isn't that weird? Have you ever seen the Twilight Zone episode? So Bartholomew, his name is supposed to be like Messiah and Messiah's people, but he's not. He's like the anti-Messiah, which doesn't mean complete polar opposite. It means replacement of, the one who replaces. So then, of course, Bartholomew replaces Homer. I don't think I have to explain that one. Homer means just to behold Mercury. You can go down a whole trail with that one. So I call this one Tala-va-shana, but it could be Tala-va-shana. And I can prove how it means vision, at least in the Hebrew perspective, because you usually get visions when you sleep. But I'll get into that. So Bart is supposed to be the Antichrist character, forcing the media controlled by Krusty the Clown. I mean, you can't make this up. There's even a weird episode where some lady's supposed to assassinate Fidel Castro, but she's sleeping with Krusty the Clown, and he stops her from doing it And he's like, you can't kill Fidel. He's half my act. It's just really weird. That show is really weird. So that's why I showed that clip, because it's like sideshow Mel. Mel, like Melkart, or it's basically the deity of um what do they call them? Maonites? No, the Minoans. The Minoans, basically the Cretans, Caftor. Basically what came, I think, yeah, yeah, the Cretans and everything, and we just talked about that, and I told you where the capital went. Um, where they have Mel, it was something like Mel something. So sideshow Mel is like the pharaonic side trade. You know what I mean? The gypsy. So literally what sideshow Mel is. That's what he represents. He's supposed to represent a gypsy, but and sideshow Bob, but he wants to kill Bartholomew, so he's the pharaonic expression, even his phenotype. They make his hair like a palm tree for a reason, and it's red. It's the color of scarlet, and also dictatorship. We'll get to this stuff. Um, you can't make this stuff up. I don't know if they're purposely putting in there or it's just manifesting because they're sitting there and they're trying to figure out something that's interesting that'll entertain people, and they have to do things based on creation, and that's the most highs surrealism. Is all these random images that we're seeing all the time in creation. It's unlocking our subconscious to understand that he exists, because he doesn't need it, so he creates it so that we can see he exists. So let me see what I'm going to do now. Let me start with this really quick because this is very interesting. Um, Engineers found evidence in hydraulics in an ancient pyramid, solving a 4,500-year-old mystery. They're saying about how they transported the bricks and did all this kind of stuff. But I think they're probably hiding. Let me see what I wrote, because I wrote something to this. Repeating the obvious, because they've been saying that for a long time. It's like, yeah, obviously. Or they poured them. They made artificial limestone, all kinds of things they could have done. Repeating the obvious, but not telling you that the water was producing energy. It's a temple of Abel, which means a stream, but also mourning, so it implies a stream of tears. Tears in Niobe, the Tamas, weeping for Tamas. So basically what a pyramid was, I might be able to find this actually. There was an AI generated photo of the pyramids of Giza. If I can find that. Oops. Um, Pyramid, sorry. I'll find it right now. AI generated pyramids of Giza. Come on. It's not gonna show me the whole page either. Some of these are pretty cool. Where is it? Where they actually they put like a golden top on it or something. I don't know why I can't find this. Let me see something real quick. Yeah, it showed the pyramids of Giza as a almost like a shopping mall type place, but it showed it how they claim it was when it was in its glory, basically plated with marble, and it had a golden capstone. I can't find this though. Let me see if it suggests other things here. I want to be able to find this. It's irritating me. Generated. Let's see here. If I don't find it in like a minute, I'm not gonna waste time on this, but I just liked the picture because it displayed that, because you know how gold and various other things are used in technology for communication. Um, so if it was marble and there's all kinds of other stuff inside, like I think limestone or whatever it was, then it has a gold top. It could have actually had a blinking light on the top and sending a short wave signal to Kaftor, the Cretans, because they might even believe that no one ever died, and they're scared of certain parts of the Anatolian Mountains. But you never know. Like you never know how long they were scared of it. Maybe they don't believe that anymore. But when these things were built, um, they were built like that for a reason. They didn't just, you know, push on a bunch of workers and slaves to build these things for no reason. And I can't find let's try if I last one, I'll try AI generated ancient Giza. Because it showed it like a shopping mall. It was actually kind of trippy looking where kind of like the Luxor, but with malls around it with hanging gardens on it. So it was really cool, but I can't find it, of course, because um, I don't think AI is good at all. I think it's gonna destroy everything. It's just gonna absorb like a black hole. It might even create a black hole. It might find out how to create. Anyway, I'm not gonna talk about that stuff. It's just a bunch of useless photos that I'm finding. This is the closest thing I can find. Let me. All right, that'll do. So many. It's kind of frustrating though. Right here. So this is the best I can find. Um, just imagine it plated with marble, and then that top capstone is gold, and it has other conducting materials in it, coincidentally. And it could have had a blinking light on the top, just like uh, the Washington Monument or a lot of these things. And they could have had an Egyptian, one of those old batteries. They've had proof that they had batteries thousands of years ago, but they were very weak, so it would send a very weak signal. You see how they can trick people into thinking that they're gods, but they didn't have technology like right now. They just had like a telegraph. They've always had the ability to kind of reach up to a telegraph level, but always wireless. They might have tried wired in different tricks, but it'd be hard to do. It might get figured out. There's too much of a chance of it getting figured out. So it's very low level stuff. They've always had very low level stuff. People want to, then there's narratives trying to glorify them. They've always been so powerful. They control everything. It's like, are they your god or something? And you're their prophet? And you seriously, these people just worship, just constantly worship. So I got other stuff here. Let me take this off. So I think they could have also used water like hydraulic energy. They could have had even lodestones. They could have probably used it in different ways. If the Egyptians could take the type of metal that they find in meteorites and make them into knives, then they had enough heat to make magnets or extract whatever. It's not far-fetched, but I'm not saying they had a giant technological society. I'm saying they had just faint wireless signals. That was just a very, very small amount of what we see today. They didn't have flying cars and all this stuff, and Atlantis was just they had so much gold and everything that they were probably able to wield something a bit stronger, but still not what we have right now. And then people are like, how do you know that? It's like, yeah, how do you know that everything wasn't opposite land 100 years ago because you weren't born then? It's a very weak argument. The whole how do you know argument. It's like, okay, let's go through this. Okay, so let me go through TV1. New television hookups. So these are stories from like the early 50s. And I want to highlight them because I feel they are important. New York, January 11th, sometime in the 50s. If I had the book with me, I'd be able to show you. But it's like the 50s. And you could tell because they're talking about the first television hookups. Television Tonight extended the range of its vision, yashen, to sleep. I'll show you that in a minute. From the Atlantic to the Mississippi over an area with a quarter of the nation's population. Remember, as you watch the television and use it, you're making it more powerful, which is a double-edged sword, but nobody ever wants to pick it up. So it's like they're just allowing evil people to have it, and then they never really use it. They just get entertained by it. They just get cut by it. Historic ceremony, the East Coast and Midwest television networks of the American Telephone and Telegraph Company's Bell System were joined with the opening of a new link between Philadelphia and Cleveland. For the first time, St. Louis residents could watch a television show in Washington, or New York or Boston residents could see a program in Chicago. See how it's the mega cities with the big tall towers? For the first time, St. Louis residents, Washington or Chicago, it was a giant stride towards coast-to-coast television, which, however, may still be 4 or 5 years away because of the expense, technical problems, and great distances involved. But see, if people just want it bad enough, that's why we have it now. There's good and there's bad, but just remember, people keep letting the bad people use the most of it while they just sit there being entertained. And that means to take hold of the mind. The Golden Spike ceremony made it possible to telecast simultaneously Golden Spike, gold, ceremony made it possible to telecast simultaneously to 17 cities with more than 30 stations, or better than half the nation's total. The 4 television networks, ABC, CBS, Dumont, and NBC, gave viewers a sampling of things to come with 15-minute shows each. So ABC, CBS, and NBC, and Dumont, which I forgot exactly what that became, but all of those people were the first ones there. They've always controlled the narrative. So I just put this up here. And it's in the Telegram. The link is in the bio. Let's see here. This one. Films sped to theater screen by television. But listen to this. December 10th in New York. This is sometime in the 50s. The theater-size motion picture comparable in quality with ordinary newsreel films made in 66 seconds. Remember what I said about the 66? By aiming a film camera at the screen of a television receiver were demonstrated today for Television Broadcasters Association. This system developed by Paramount Pictures. Paramount is literally the paranormal mountain. The mountain of the Lord. They claim the mountain of the Lord. You see what they're doing? The beast has blasphemous names all over it, like Huawei and Paramount Pictures and Yahoo News. The late Georgia, said to reduce greatly the time lag between the shooting of special events with the usual optical cameras. They're blah, blah, blah. Basically, what it's saying here, though, warp speed, is what's happening here. Just with the television screens. And then you can see the control. Film men surrender in U.S. contempt case. 6 Hollywood writers, 2 directors, and 1 producer charged with contempt of Congress for refusing to state whether they are communists yesterday surrendered to the U.S. Marshal Robert E. Clark. Remember, this whole thing was a distraction because we funded the communists in World War II. And then afterward, they want to track who's a communist in Hollywood. Yeah, sure. You see how it's... After being fingerprinted and booked by the marshal, the defendants were taken at once to U.S. Judge J.F.T. O'Connor's court, where they were arraigned. Bond each was fixed at $1,000 in the 50s. So basically, I'm showing you... I just changed something random here. Oops. There we go. I'm just showing you what television is doing first, and then the influence of it. Oh, we funded the communists in World War II. We funded Stalin. But now we're going to claim that people are communists in Hollywood, and they just so happen to be a bunch of Semitic people. And see how half of them are working with Hollywood, the propaganda, but half of them could be just trying to tell people the truth. And so then they're like, oh, let's just label who's the communist, clean everything up, and restore our authority, or fear, at least. It's not real authority. It's always fearun, pharaoh, fear. A delusion of an illusion of greatness. Delusions of grandeur. So what am I doing here? Once I go through first. So Bartholomew, just so you know, Bar is son. Let's see. Yeah, it's just Bar's son. And Ta, like I've shown you, is a mark, or a signature, or an X shape, or boundary, or pain or wound. In Psalm 78:41. Let's see. So when I looked up to get these things, I came across Barkos, son of his father, or lightning. Kos, to resemble one's father, and Bar, son. Barkos, with a D on it, which would be door, or to invoke, would be barcode. To invoke the son of the father, or to evoke the father's son. Barcodes aren't Christian at all. In fact, they're in Revelation as the mark of the beast. So it's very interesting that that's what that means, and I just wanted to share that. And then Lemuel is here, king of Massa. Massa is to push on, like Musha. people of Musha, literally. I remember Moses prophesied of a prophet who would come later like him. That's Messiah. Lemuel belonging to El. So the son of the mark belonging to El. And barcode would be to invoke the father's son, or to invoke the son of the father, or the son's father invokes. But again, that's in Revelation as a mark. There's nothing. So it's just really weird. That barcode, in a spiritual sense, would be good. Yeah, you would have the barcode of Elohim, but it's not physical. So what is a barcode now? It's physical. So you can just put these things together. So we're going to go over television. It's talal. Not used in scripture, but in other languages, it's to moisten or fall gently. The serpent, the Nachash, was the most subtle of all the creatures. Most softly spoken, just like a Ka. Say now, man cub. Tal, meaning dew. Remember what Moses said, may my speech distill as the dew and settle on you, so that you absorb it. It's propaganda, but good propaganda was what Moses is saying. May my words soak into you. This is the television. Talal, kind of roofing, where we put our antennas. Talal means to pile up layer upon layer, and yields the familiar derivative tel, the artificial mount created by covering over the ruins of a destroyed settlement. The television works through layers upon layers of bands, bandwidth. High pressure systems can squeeze those and mess with your signal. This is just proof that these are the roots that are describing television. But the deeper meaning, this is why they can even, they do it through the spirit, but it's in them. The more they're in this, the more they can see it. And it's like, oh, they saw television. They saw an image being created that is given life so it can speak, and it causes people who don't worship it to be slain. Television helps people get slain in Ukraine, in the Middle East, in Gaza, in America, in South America, in Mexico. The television causes to be slain by giving a false narrative. That people keep watching it, and it keeps piling up layer upon layer, like the covering over a destroyed settlement. Tool. I just talked about the band Tool with Schism. There's a song called Vicarious about watching television. I watch the TV because tragedy thrills me. Whatever flavor it happens to be. Like a mother, husband drowned in the ocean, shot by his own son. And it talks about a woman clutching her child and watching it die and crying out to God, why, oh, why? And it's the viewer of the television seeing all this, and the viewer is saying, I like to watch things die from a good, safe distance, vicariously. I watch the whole world die. And then his evil projects upon other people and says, you all feel the same, so why don't we just admit it? Can't make this stuff up. Tool seems to describe a falling, but in a more forceful way. And is usually translated with to hurl or to cast. World War I and II happened with the radio. You understand? It was the birth pains of the television. Who was hurled or cast down to earth. I did this in an episode, and I think I'm going to take some clips from old broadcasts and then speak about them so that I can still take the good from them and not actually throw most of them away, and have proof, because you can visibly see I'm years younger in the video. You can tell they're older videos where I can prove that I said stuff like this, where I said possibly is this angelic technology because Satan, a four-dimensional being, was cast down to the earth, but it came from static and he needed humans who are actually higher than him dimensionally, because he's been thrown down, to take some of the scrambled knowledge he has of the fourth dimension, meld it with their ability to reach, and make this technology. People who made this technology write books talking about interacting with these things. Multiple people saying the same things at once. Doesn't matter if they're taking a drug or not. If they're all saying the same thing and it's telling them all the same words, how is that a hallucination? They put these in movies, and then they make you think every single movie is fake. So then you watch the news or documentaries even, and it's like that's programmed in the back of your head. Ancient serpent was cast down to the earth. He sends the beast with wrath because he knows his time is short. The television foments the wrath of war. It has been historically proven already, time and time again, in the short time television has been around, he knows his time is short, that the television has caused so much death, radio has caused so much death, it's insane. The prophet Isaiah declares to Shebna, Yahweh hurls you with a hurling and grabs you with a grabbing, and foretells that Yahweh will roll him up and throw him like a ball into a foreign country. To hurl, to cast. At the sight of Leviathan, a man is not hurled away, but rather spread thin, concluding that being spread thin is a mark of weakness or defeat. And similarly, the steps of a man are established by the Lord. When he falls, he will not be spread thin. The television comes from words meaning to spread you thin. Tala, like Teletubbies or Telly Monster from... If you look up the original Telly Monster from Sesame Street. They had to change his character because he terrified children. His eyes were like spiraling, hypnotized things, and he watched the television all day. Can't make this up. They had to change his... He's not even a television monster anymore. The thing on his head was an antenna. They don't even tell you why he's called Telly Monster anymore. Because it was disturbing. Look up the original Telly Monster. It's freaking disturbing. So Tala, meaning a hurling, or rather a spreading out like a broadcast. Nettle may come from the above. Natal, meaning to lift or bear. Nettle, meaning burden or weight. Natil, meaning laden, burdens you to know things that you cannot control, that you never would have known without the television. You can't control it. They're burdening They're trying to put the government of God on your shoulders. It's supposed to be Messiah. You're supposed to wear Messiah, not bear all that burden. See, Okay. I mean, you could read all. I'll try to post these after. I just want to read the definitions. Tale would Isaiah famously predicted that the wolf and the tale would graze together. So lamb. Wow. Tale is like a lamb then. Talitha kumi. That is, little girl, I tell you, arise. They would call little girls lambs. That's beautiful. They call their daughters their little lambs. That's why it talks about, and it's hard to talk about that story when Nathan prophesied to Daniel or David about what he did, and gave the example of the man who only had one little ewe lamb, and he treated it like a daughter. They say these things because it's in their language. So when Messiah said that, he literally told her, "Little lamb, I say to you, arise." I mean, that's beautiful, right? You don't get to see that if you don't search the language. You see how they try to steal it from you? So, a lamb, but remember, Revelation, two horns like a lamb, it speaks like a dragon. The television even comes from a word meaning a lamb. It has rabbit ears. Look at Set. Look at how they depicted the ears of Set. They're not rabbit ears, they're the television set. Talim on his arm. The shepherd of his flock carries the talim on his arm. All right. Tala primarily denotes a pattern of coloration in smaller herd animals, even in talking about patterns of colors. Thousands of years before television even existed, these words existed, holding the future on them. Could have been synonymous with childish or forever young. Forever young. You understand? Forever young. They're immortalized on the TV. You can't make this up. Ezekiel 16:16, it's used in a highly symbolic context to describe the quality of places of pagan worship made from the bride's clothes. Vision, vav, shana, hook of the curtains. The quality of palaces of pagan worship made from the bride's clothes. The city strips you, strip, to make naked. They want to take the bride's clothes. That's where they get this from. We're clothed in Messiah. That's the word. This is not a coincidence. And one of the reasons why this won't get out is because people keep watching the television. Oh, it's pretty. Why is it pretty? It's the bride's clothes. It's not their clothes. It doesn't belong to them. It belongs to me and whoever believes in the covenant. These are my clothes. These are your clothes if you're in the same covenant. It's not their clothes. Which probably describes the vista of a mountainous area in which the white of countless billowing banners and such can be seen from afar as dancing specks of white against the darker hills. That describes white noise and static. They either purposely call them this because they're Kabbalistic and they know this stuff, or it naturally manifests out of the mouth of babes. I prepared praise. Yashen, shen, shen. So va-shen, vision. Yashen means to sleep. Where do you have visions? In your sleep. If you saw the movie They Live, when he puts the glasses on, he hears what the frequencies are saying. Sleep, sleep, sleep. The book of Yasher? All right. Yashen means sleeping. Shena, shenat all mean sleep. Yashen means old, grand old party, grand old flag. Withered or flabby like a lifeless plant with top hanging down as if in sleep, so in a trance. And shana meaning to repeat, propaganda. You can't make this up. This is what Tala-va-shana or Tala-va-shana means. Sane. You're going to love this. We're going to find out what to be sane and what to be insane actually means. Sane means sleep. So if you're sane, you are asleep. If you're insane, you're awake. You see how this is Joktan. Awake, O sleeper. Messiah will shine upon you. How can Messiah shine upon you watching the television? Its name literally means all these things. Okay. So our verb sane, means to hate, and it's the antithesis of the verb aheb, which means to love. So Ahab means basically like uncle father. Ahab is Uncle Sam. Samaria. Uncle Samaria. Ahab means love. Lover. See, it's lust though. Hitler loved Germany. Do you understand? He lusted after Germany. It killed it. Uncle Sam, Uncle Samaria, lusts after America. That's what destroys it. It's not love. That's why Ahab was with Jezebel. He is like Zebul. That is, I don't know, you can look it up. Look up Jezebel. This is just insane. No, but what is it? I don't know what to say now. So sane means hate, and insane means not hating. See how they invert this? Because they hate, and because they sleep. Okay, that's why it's like, oh, they live, we sleep. It's like, no, they sleep, we live. They're the ones who are sleeping. So Dasani water, it's like hate water. What the heck is up with that? I don't, hebratize the water you're drinking. I'm drinking a water that means like it's good for your heart or something. I forgot, like the strength of your heart. The water I'm drinking. So I'm like, oh, that's a good name. I ain't gonna drink the hate water. So Sani means emotion. Picture. A motion away from someone or something with the intent to disassociate from it and forget about it. It's exactly what they do on the television. It's CNN and Fox. Two things separating people from each other, separating families, separating countries, causing war. Oh, we lied for so long, so vigorously, and we invaded Iraq, and 1 million people were murdered. And then later on, with sanctions, 500,000 Iraqi children were starved to death, and Secretary of State said it was worth it. So this is what the television does. A motion away from someone or something with the intent to dissociate it from it and forget about it. It causes to be slain. people can make their livelihoods on the television, and then they use that to take it all away. They can die and nobody will know about it. I mean, it's happening in Gaza right now. It's happening in a bunch of areas of the world. It happened in Rwanda. It happened in Sudan. It happened all over the place. The television doesn't actually tell you, or they tell you afterwards, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, we'll get you next time," and then they don't every single time. So shena meaning hating or hatred. So if you're a sinner, it's actually because you're hating. That's what the main problem is. Not actually what you're doing, the sin itself. It's you have hatred. That's the focus. Shana means to change. Shana. Okay, or create a difference. Change or create a difference. Obama's whole thing was about change. It may be used to indicate change of clothes, change of mind. Also may denote a perversion of justice, or even the act of disguising oneself. This is all the television. The lawless one comes with all power, all the deceivable false signs of Satan. This shana stuff might even associate with shaitan. It sounds similar. He tries to change things. He thinks he's creating a difference. He's just ruining things, though. He's the Noid. You can't make this stuff up. Shana meaning year. What happens in New York? Live from New York. Okay. The ball drops. The bale drops. To cast down. What are they commemorating on this pole? It's a sphere. It's a dimension. Being cast down. It's a light. It's a light bearer. It's a Lucifer that's being cast down every year. Shana. Several expressions in scripture uses this noun shana to indicate a certain prolonged event that marks a profound change. 9/11. The year, it could be the year of favor, the year of release, the year of jubilee, the year of remission, or the year of vengeance. The year of vengeance. Shana, this form, means to shine. The television literally shines. Shana meaning to change or to repeat. Just remember you wake up for every morning because of President Bush. Shana, to repeat. Just remember you wake up every morning for you because of President Bush. It's insane. Or is it sane? Is it sane or insane? It's sane. You understand how they... Okay. The sole extant derivative of our root shana is the masculine noun shani, shiny, denoting the color scarlet. Oh, he marveled at the woman on the scarlet beast. Ooh, shiny. Shiny. You can't make this up. Perhaps the Hebrews figured this noun to match shana because clothes dipped in scarlet dye changed from being ordinary to something worthy of Elohim's tabernacle. So remember, it's the clothes of the bride. But I'll keep reading here. Scarlet also seemed to have symbolized the process of purification. In the process, not the finished result, supposed to be your sins are made white. In the case of Rahab the prostitute, showcasing scarlet meant salvation. But why? Remember the Tola worm? They won't tell you about this. I don't know why. Since Shani was you symbolize, though your sins are scarlet, they'll be white as snow. Remember the Tola worm? So the scarlet item was known as something that had changed from natural to permanently tainted. Permanently tainted, and obviously through a process of repetition. This goes directly against this is a direct attack against our democracy. This is a direct attack against our democracy. Just remember you wake up freer every morning because of President Bush. There's WMDs in Iraq. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. It's safe and effective. Shena means to repeat or do again. Get back, Jack, do it again. Okay. Ranging from a recurring dream, restless street, the mind's in turmoil. One nightmare ends, another fertile. If you ever look up Infinite Dreams by Iron Maiden, recurring dream. Why do people have a recurring dream? It's interesting. There's a person with a name that has to do with imprisonment that I know had recurring dreams of imprisonment. There's a verse in scripture talking about the false priesthood and the dreams that they cause you to dream. The dream police, they live inside of my head. The dream police, they come to me in my bed, 'cause I leave the TV on while I sleep. I mean, oh, my beloved, he opens the lips of sleepers. Do you understand? Now it's like this thing is trying to match Messiah. This horn will become like the prince of the host. Do you understand? I can't make this stuff up. To men not speaking again, technology does that, or a fool returning to his folly, or like a dog to his vomit. Oh man, The Simpsons keeps blaspheming my Elohim, but I'm just going to keep watching them because the clown is funny or something. Or Bart says "I caramba." And that probably means something very evil. Oh, I forgot to mention this. This should have been at the beginning, but I don't even like saying it, so maybe it should be at the end. The whole Abra, you know what? I'm not going to say it all together. Is a very, very evil spell. Because Ab is father, Ra is evil or beating in pieces. I went over this. Kaf is an outstretched hand asking for something, like a prayer. Daber is word, to invoke a house. Da-ber, it's word, and then Ra again is evil. So it's literally an outstretched hand. It's a prayer to receive the word of evil from the father of evil. They claim it means I speak and I create, or I create while I'm speaking, which is blasphemous because we can't do that. We can assemble what is already created. The whole hocus pocus thing, it's haka pekka. Haka is darkness or to wait, and pekka is to open the eyes and ears. So when they say hocus pocus, it means to wait to open your eyes and ears. It's a spell of blindness and deafness until you say whatever word to snap them out of it if they're weak enough to be under it. Which, if you're paying attention enough, just like staring at a television, it can do that. So they get children to say these prayers and spells. Something simple like haka pekka, hocus pocus, and the Aber, you know what? It's even in the Pokemon game. One evolution is called the father of evil. The other evolution is called to ask or to reach out your hand for a word of evil, or for an invoking the house of evil. Ouija board is isn't it like Parker Brothers who own it? It's a board game now. They made the Ouija board into a board game. There's not even like rules to it really. How do you make rules? It's not even an official board game. So the fact that they made it a board game shows you that there's something deceptive going on. So Shenaim or Shetaim meaning two. It has two antennas on the top. It It has CNN and Fox, blue and red. It went from analog to digital. AM, FM. This word is used in expected ways when the number 2 is expressed. Items are paired or coupled. Contrast different. This is all the controls on a television and the shows and the news that shows up on the television. Isha meaning 10. It creates the number 12. So there's 10 horns on the wilderness beast, and they all have one mind to devour the woman. That's the television can cause that. 10 was how many soldiers were. There was like basically like a military council of 10 in Greece. The Romans adopted it, and it's in the book of Revelation, the 10 horns. They're called like the Deca something. I forgot what it's called. Shena or shenat meaning second. That's you get all the information second-handedly through the television. Mishnah meaning second, double, or copy. It's literally what the television is doing. Shenan occurs only once. It's a kind of superlative statement. Twice 10,000. It's the audience is watching. Myriad or huge number. Name Mishnah belonging to the oral law derives from this verb. Oral law. Whoever doesn't obey causes to be slain. Shannon means to sharpen. Sharpening of tools, blades, was done by repeatedly stroking across a whetstone. Sharpening of arrows, swords. Let's get those Al-Qaedas. Let's get those WMDs. You understand? Let's get those patriot-hating. Camel. I mean, it's just grand old party. Elephant. Bush became president. The stars turned upside down on the Republican elephant. According to even ancient alchemists, if you turn it upside down, only perversion and corruption arises. It's the goat of the burning star, the fiery star, the goat of lust, attacking the heavens with its horns. That's Space Force. Associated names: Beth-shan, Yashen, Shena, Nissan. Isn't that Japanese though, or something? Shen, Shinar, Shinjo, the land of Shinar, Shunammite, Shunim, Shuni, Vashti, Tala-va-shana, Vashti, or Vashni. Let's look at the names associated with Tala. Abital, Hamutal, Talitha, Telayim, Tel Aviv. So, I think I got this all in one part. I either won't do any more today, or maybe I'll do some vaults. Because I kind of feel like doing stuff now. I got the screen all set up, and I got through everything. Bartholomew, Bartimaeus, Barsabbas, Barnabas, Barkos, Barjona, Barjishosh, Barabbas. Bar-Abbas means son of the father. They chose the son of the father over the actual son of the father. Isn't that ironic? They like insurrectionists. They chose an insurrectionist rather than Messiah. When the band came to take Messiah away, Peter drew a sword out and struck the servant of the high priest on the right ear, named Malchus, which means the king. But then Messiah healed it. So they had the testimony that Peter did it, but not the proof, because the ear wasn't actually cut off, because it was healed by Messiah. You see the ritual with Trump in his ear, and it doesn't even really look like it was messed up. Could have looked like that before, but now AI can just instantly edit things We're in the age where AI has been let loose the last couple months. You can see it when you look up things in search engines. Let me take this off really quick. There we go. So we're in the age where AI, right when a story comes out, can edit a photo. And it's like, oh, but you can do the whole backwards photo thing. It's like, yeah, but all you need is an authority figure that tells you, oh, we did the backwards thing. It's a real photo. There you go. We went to the moon. So let me put this music back on. And maybe I'll do more today. But I actually got this done in one part. So I'll edit it after so it doesn't say part 1. Confuse people. I just got it done in one part. That is a miracle. So here, let me put this music on here. Let me put it on low though.
Every time something strange happens, it's good that Bart did that. It's very good.
Well, we're still on 346 consecutive hours. And all because of one little boy who won't let me stop! Anyway, now let's go over and see if Sideshow Mel has any more of those legal, over-the-counter wake-up drugs of his.